Hey, world, welcome back to another awesome episode of Be Inspired Podcast, where we're inspiring you to live the abundant life you deserve. So, I got another awesome guest on the line. Dr. Wo Babatunde is in the house today. And just give him a little shout out all the way from Nigeria. Been here in America for about 12 years, living in South Carolina. Adapt and advance, right? So, right behind you. If you miss it, it's on the screen right behind him. So if you haven't gotten it, go ahead and check out Amazon. The link is gonna be down below. I wanted to say, give a quick shout out to Creative Dream Collective before we get started. They do all our flyers, all our marketing. So if you need any marketing, if you need any logos, design shirts, you could definitely reach out to them. All right. So Dr. Wu, welcome to the podcast, man. Tell us a
Thank you.
little bit about you.
Thank you so much, Samuel. I'm really, really excited to be here today. And it's always a big joy for me whenever I have the opportunity to be on podcasts because it gives me the opportunity to do the one thing which I believe is my purpose, to share my story with other people, to inspire others and to spur them on and to help them to be the best version of themselves. And I'll usually start saying a summary of my life, or if you would, 360-degree view of my
No,
life.
I actually want to start where you said you found your purpose and it's your purpose to inspire others. So tell me, how did you find that purpose? Because a lot of people are struggling with finding their purpose and knowing where to go. So can you elaborate a little bit about that?
So for me, purpose started when I was trying to make meaning from the loss of both parents. So I lost my mom when I was 7, lost my dad when I was 13. And as a teenager, 14, 15, 16, I struggled a lot with why am I here? What am I here to do? Why is all this happening to me? Just like we all go through struggles, almost everybody does. It might be different and unique, but we all go through things. I was trying to understand, why am I going through this? Why is life so hard for me? Why did I have to lose my parents so early? And in the midst of making meaning, some of the things I learned to discover purpose, I didn't know. I was able to put them into the book much later, years later. But one thing that stood out to me was my story is something that will be a blessing to other people.
Yeah.
And that tells me about looking at the big picture. In my book, Adapt and Advance, I thought about number one way to make meaning is focusing on the big picture or using your story to be a blessing to other people. Very early that one, my story will not end bad like it was at that time. And I got to know also very early that I'm going to use my story, or God is going to use my story, or my
Yeah.
story will be something that will inspire others that are going through similar issues or even different issues, but that are going through very tough situations. So I would say I discovered purpose a little bit early. And very early, to around the age of 20, 21, I started reading a lot of books. So
Okay.
I would say that was also very, very helpful for me. I read books by Miles Monroe, books like Understanding Purpose. I read books like In Pursuit of Purpose, Maximizing Purpose. There were 3 books. There were 3 different books related to purpose by Miles Monroe. I read around my age, 20, 21-ish. And that was
Okay.
extremely, very, very helpful for me. So I would say before I read those books, I've started understanding that my pain can be used as a story to inspire people. Although I was still going through the pain at that time, but I got the understanding I could use it to be a blessing to other people. When I now read those books, I'm like, wow, this is what I've been trying to understand over the past couple of years in my life. And so that helped me to solidify things. I started to write things down. I started to have a mission statement
Yeah.
and all of that, in my life. And
Okay.
slowly, gradually, I kept it moving and moving and moving up to where I am right now.
Okay. I like that because you touched on a little bit about goals and mission statement, because I was watching one of your videos and it says that you write your goals and your mission statement every day. How did you come up with that and how is it beneficial to achieving your goals?
Yeah. So for me, like I said, a lot of what I do today, it's a lot of bits and pieces that I learned over the years.
Yeah.
And all of them have added up into like a complete whole. With the writing of my book, Adapt and Advance, I kind of like, put everything together into the book as much as I could, and to summarize all the things that have worked for me in my life in the past. So this became like a template for my life. For me, even writing the book was not just only putting words on paper, it was also helping me to cement or to formalize the things I believe in and the way I want to live my life. So I also live my life by the book. I wrote more than I did even before writing or while writing. The writing of the book for me achieved many purposes. One, inspire others with my story
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all the things that work. But also for me, it's helped me to like formalize into a framework. Like in the book, I talk of MAP LAMP, MAPLAMP. So I live my life by that framework. Every morning I write it down on top of I have a notebook that, 2 pages is dedicated every day in the morning for my writing and journaling. And I make sure I do every one of them. It might just be, my plan is to do 5 minutes. So it might just be just a few minutes here and there, a few minutes there. But I make sure I've done something. I've done something towards learning. I read
Okay.
something. I've done something towards alliance formation. Then mission statement, which was the question you asked, which is number 6 of the 7. So every morning I have a mission statement that I say to myself consistently every day, which for me, it's like to fulfill God's purpose and be the best version of myself by moving from one level of success and value to a greater level of success and value per time, and to contribute positively to the lives of those God has placed on my path. So I remind myself every morning. And ideally, when I'm going to my job in the morning, I do this first thing in the morning before I even get into the shower. And I remind myself because, of course, life happens to us. We get to work. There are challenges every day. There are stuffs that happen. But I keep my mission statement in front of me, my mind. I remind myself just so I don't get derailed by the happenings around me. And I remind myself, why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing every day?
Okay. So, say somebody is watching this and wants to have a mission statement and start out on a mission statement. Break it down for me. What is a good way to start or create that mission statement to direct your life?
A good way is to make it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. You could adjust it. Like mine is a bit long, but I've adjusted it over the past couple of maybe 25 years. I've kept refining and refining. And what I just said to you is the latest one I have. So you can change it, and it could be something simple. To be a good, if for example you're married, it could be to be a good spouse. We have kids, to be a good father to my children. It could just be something as simple as that, or to be a good spouse and be a good father, or whatever it is. And over time, as you continue to discover, I would say a lot of it has to do with you making discoveries about who you really are. And these discoveries will change over the years. For me, every time I read the book, I get one little thing I learn from it. One thing I do every time I learn or read a book is I make sure there's one takeaway and I improve my life based on that. Or even at times when I watch podcasts like these or watch videos on YouTube, watching sermons at times, or whenever I listen, I learn something that I try to implement, because I believe that there is no end to knowledge. Knowledge is important. We have to keep gaining knowledge. So I would say to someone watching who is trying to come up with something simple, something you can achieve, something you can measure. Mine is broken into 3, like I said, to be the best version of myself. That's the overarching goal. I want
Yeah.
to be the best I can be. Then the second part of it is to move from one level of good success and value to a greater level of good success and value per time, which means at every time of my life, I want to make sure I'm improving. I'm getting better. I'm going
Yeah.
forward. And then the third part is the service part, which is to be a blessing to everyone God has placed on my path, which is the reason for all of this. I don't want to succeed and make money just for the fun of it. I
Yeah.
want it to be a blessing to the people that God has placed on my path, beginning from my family members or my close friends, and then extending to other people, colleagues at work, everybody. And, this keeps me in check, everywhere I find myself. It helps me, it reminds me to always keep this in front of me. Like everybody that I interact with, I try very hard to make sure I'm on mission. Whether it's a patient, it's a colleague, it's a friend, it's a family member. How is my mission? How am I achieving my mission statement right now? So it's
Yeah.
not waiting for one big day or one time when I have millions of people I'm reaching out to. I look forward to such day. But even right now, with the one person in my family, my spouse, or maybe my two kids, or with the person working with me on my job, the one person I'm talking to right now, or the single patient I'm talking to right now, how is my mission statement finding fulfillment when I'm interacting with them? It's not always easy to remember this all the time, but it keeps me in check when I want to make decisions, especially big decisions. And I
Yeah.
even small decisions too. I have to remind myself, am I being on mission? Am I being a blessing right now with what I just said to this person? And I try my best to just live that way. So I would say to somebody watching, it doesn't have to be complicated like mine. You could just find whatever truly is the best you have discovered about your own personal mission. Make it into a simple statement that you can write it on your mirror or maybe on a postcard or in front of something that keeps reminding you that this is why I'm living. To be the best version of myself. You can just pick that. Or to be a good parent or a good son or a good son and a good spouse, whatever works for you. And, and you discover something bigger tomorrow, you can edit it, you can add to it, and you keep it moving from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you said a lot of valuable things in there. One of the things that stood out to me was that you are working on not making money for yourself, but to serve more people. So, how can you say someone is on here and they're listening and they chased the money, they lost their soul, and now they're trying to find their way back? What kind of advice would you give them?
Just like any other challenges that we go through, we can always retrace our steps back. And one thing I always tell people is nobody is like perfect. Everybody's trying. So I always encourage people, no matter how many mistakes you have made, don't let your mistakes define you. Just like for me, I didn't let the loss of my parents very early in life define me. And I always say that, your story is being written and you hold the pen in your hand. So if you understand that the pen is in my hand for my story, write a good story for yourself. So understand that no matter the mistake you have made, so long you are still living and you are not dead, your story is still being written and you hold the pen. So if I hold the pen in my hand, what kind of story do I want to write about myself? That's something I remind myself every day too. I want to write a story about myself that when I grow old and die and look back, if there's anything like that, I want to be happy with the story I've written with my destiny or with my life. And even while I'm still alive, I want to look back and be proud of the story I wrote last year. This is 26. I
Yeah.
want to look at the story I wrote in 2025 about myself. Not necessarily referring to my book now. I'm just talking about life generally.
Yeah.
I want to be proud and be happy that I wrote a good story last year. Does that mean I didn't make a mistake? No, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying. The mistake notwithstanding, I did the best I could to write a good story. So that's what I would tell somebody watching at home, like whatever it is, you've chased money, you've lost your soul, things have not gone well, things have not gone the way you want it to be. Understand that the pen is still in my hand. I made a mistake, yes, but with this pen, I can write my story beginning from where I am now. And that comes to planning. For me, in my book, my plan P is the third pillar, which is planning. And I always define planning as connecting where I am now to where I want to be.
Okay.
So you are somewhere right now. Maybe you made a mistake. You are somewhere right now. How can I move from point A to point B? I have to be able to have, that's what planning is. So let's assume 0 is the level ground. You made some mistake, you are in -10. And where you really want to get to is +10. How do I get from -10 to +10? One, you have to first dig yourself out of -10 to -9 to -8 until you get to 0. It might not, to people looking at you from outside, might look like you're not doing anything. This
Yeah.
person is in the negative and is not doing good. But it used to be -10 in 2025. In 2026, it's -7. even though people might not see, because everything still looks minus, looks negative. But you do know how much effort you did put in to move from -10 to -7. And if you keep it going, soon you get to zero, soon you get to +1, +2, +3, +4, +5, +6. And even if you've never reached +10, worst case scenario, it be that at least with the pen in my hand, I kept working on my life to move it from -10 to -9 to -8. And
Yeah.
everybody may not see it. Everybody might still see me, think I'm a failure. But you know you are not a failure because you have the pen in your hand and you are rewriting the kind of story that you want to see. And again, this brings us to the point of enjoying the journey, not only the destination. So at times it's not so much. While it's good to get a good destination, of course, nobody wants to travel and not get to where it's going. But, at times we might not necessarily get to where we want to be. But you want to enjoy every bit of the journey and begin to move towards, as you continue to move towards. Whether you get there or not is a different thing.
Yeah.
But you are doing your best to enjoy the journey every day. Purpose is daily. You do the best you can to enjoy it every single day.
That's awesome. So I know I haven't touched on it yet. Tell me a little bit about how did you get the name of the book, Adapt and Advance?
So the name of the book, I've always wanted, like I said, since a teenager, my early 20s, I knew I was going to write books, not just one. I'm working on the second one now. It might take some time because I just believe I have something in me that will be a blessing to my world if put on paper. So when I started working on this specific one, Adapt and Advance, looks like this on Amazon. One of the things I was trying my best to make sure that I captured all the things that has worked for me since the loss of my parents up till now, and that has helped me so far. And I realized adapt, which definition I give to adapt is your ability to accept a difficult situation. This is difficult. For example, the
Yeah.
loss of my parents was a difficult situation. So adapt means you accept that difficult situation, let's say on your left hand. Whereas advance means you're able to go forward despite the difficult situation. So the difficult situation does not grind you to a halt and stop you from going forward. Rather, you hold it that this is hard. If you have to cry, you can cry. There are many times I locked myself up as a teenager and cried. I wish my parents could come back. But of course, they did not. But, that was tough. That was hard. The financial challenges that came with it was rough and hard. So I accepted this is rough, but I kept advancing, meaning I did not let that help me get into depression. I'm using that word loosely because I understand there could be genuine biological basis for that, which has nothing to do with going through problems.
Yeah.
I didn't let that ground me into the kind of depression that comes with challenges or problems. And I did not let that stop me, or make me follow a path that I will regret, which I saw I see a lot of people following such paths when they have problems. People turn into, I'm not saying this lightly because I know it's a difficult decision for people. People turn into maybe things like drugs and things that at the end of the day makes it hard for them to still even reach their goal. Or even for some people, it derails them completely and makes it so hard. It puts some people so much in negative, maybe -50, -40, it's going to
Yeah.
be a lot of work to dig yourself out of it to even get to the positives. But the point I'm making is all of this notwithstanding, you can always find a way to make sure that you are advancing. So I got the title summarizing my life like difficult situations. Yes, you can make progress forward. Yes. So is yes to both. Is it going to be hard? Of course, yes. But can you go forward? Of course, yes. So
Yeah.
it's like yes to both difficulties and going forward. Some people feel, I talk to patients every day. I talk to people every day. Some people feel when it's difficult, then you can go forward. And that's what my book is about. Like you can accept the difficult situation, but you can also go forward despite the difficult situation. If you have to rest in get the help you need to get professional help, cry when you need to cry, do the thing, whatever you need to do. But by all means, like somebody said, if you cannot walk, you can crawl. By
Yeah.
all means, keep moving. So you can make sure that no matter what you're experiencing, by all means, you keep going forward, irrespective of how difficult the situation you might be in right now is.
Man, you just dropping all the knowledge on here, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate Sam.
You're welcome. So, one thing I want to know is you have many different titles, right? You're a physician, scientist, and a man of faith, and also a psychiatrist. So, how do you balance all these different roles in your daily life?
Balancing different role, I just think I would say it takes one, just like we started with the issue of purpose. You have to understand your purpose. If you are called to do something, I believe every one of us has a purpose to do something specific, which only you can do in your unique way. I'm not saying you are irreplaceable, others can't do it at all, but think about it this way. You are unique. You have your problems are even unique. Your upbringing is unique and your strengths too, they are unique. No other human being on earth has exactly the same combination of all of these things.
Yeah.
So for me, everything in my life seemed to have prepared me for the current moment where I am now. I'm a psychiatrist because I believe like in medicine, psychiatry seems to be the part of medicine where we like listen to people's problem a lot. Most of our disorders in psychiatry are stress is part of the things that bring them out, if I may
Okay.
put it in a simple way like that way. Somebody who has major depressive disorder, for example, it might just
Yeah.
be because he just had loss of job or going through a difficult divorce or something like that. Those who have generalized anxiety, the same thing. Most of our issues, one way or the other, there will be one stressor in the life of that person around that time. There are sometimes people don't have anything specific they can pinpoint, but most of the time, there's always something specific people can pinpoint. I got my own purpose because of my upbringing and all the challenges I had growing up. It's easy for me to understand when people are going through a lot of rough situation, to empathize. I don't go about telling my story to patients, but at least I can feel them a little bit. And they can
Yeah.
also feel my heart for them, that I can feel what they are saying and I'm genuinely interested in helping. So that way, I'm able to do my psych job. But in terms of combining everything, I think for me, it's just a question of what's my purpose. Every morning, like I said, I wake up and I really want to. One of the things I tell myself, which I learned from Miles Monroe's book, is go to your grave empty. Meaning, he usually said in his books that the graveyard is the richest place on the earth. And why did he say
Yes.
that? He feels most people die without fulfilling their purposes, and they go with their mind of the great things God has placed inside them back to the grave. So he has this thing he says in most of his books on purpose: go to your grave empty. Yet I even broke it down. I want to go to my bed every night empty.
Uh,
And that's the way I live my life. Maybe that might be the title of a book I'll write in the future. Empty every night. And what I mean by that, this is one of the things I say to myself every morning, either in the shower or before I get in the shower. I always tell myself I want to go to my bed empty every night, meaning everything God has placed in my life, in my heart, to bless my world with, my family members, my patients, my colleagues, everybody I have interactions with, people who read my book. I want to have given them whether my spirituality as a Christian or my publishing a book or talking to my patient as a psychiatrist or being a father in the home or a husband to my wife or everything. I believe everything is just a single thing. I life simple and easy. I'm not
yeah.
like, oh, now I'm in the department of seeing patients, then keep the other ones aside. Or now I'm in church, I know I've got to. Of course, when I'm in specific roles, of course, I do some things that are more unique to that role. But overall, as a person, I'm one person. And whatever I'm doing, I have only one mission statement that cuts across every single thing. I might do it in a unique, of course, when I'm in church, I will feel free to talk about Jesus. And when
Yeah.
talking to a patient, I might never mention Jesus. I will likely never mention that. But the core purpose is still one thing, is to be the best version of myself and to be a blessing to people around me. So it doesn't matter whether I'm talking to a Christian or I'm talking to somebody who doesn't even believe in the faith. I want to be a blessing to you in the way you can understand and in the way where I can meet you where you are. So I see it's easy. It's just easy. I just flow with people. And like I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
saying with you earlier, I flow with people. I dance with people. I meet people where they are. I
Okay.
to where you are. So if you are not a Christian, I'll meet you where you are. If you're a Christian, I'll meet you where you are. If you are not a patient, I'll meet you where you are, whatever you are. And if you're a patient too, I'll meet you on that level and frequency. But it's the same purpose and the same goal.
What's the most challenging part of being a psychiatrist for you?
Is the fact at times people tell me some of their problems that is similar to mine. And, there was this particular
Transference.
patient I'm remembering. Yes, I'm remembering her right now. Maybe she's also remembering me where she is right now. And, she had two children. She lost both children. And when she was telling me the story, it reminds me of, my own mother specifically because my mom was an only child to our own mother. So it reminds me of the type of pain that, my mother's mother will have been through when she lost her only child. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that means to me at this point, but it just touched me in a specific way. So at times when people tell you things and you see that some of these things you've been through similar things, it could really be tough to go through it. And I've been moved to tears hearing some story before, and I just let the tears flow a little bit. It's rare, but it's very, very rare, but it does happen occasionally when I really feel the pain, that people are going through, that this is just rough and this is just tough.
So, how do you deal with the countertransference? Because that seemed like it comes up a lot in therapy, in psychiatry, psychology. It comes up a lot. And how does the mind play along with it? Because we're a mirror. Like, I think you believe that as well. We reflect what reflect out, and we attract people that are in similar situations that we are. So how is that dealing with psychiatry?
I would just say at times you just got to be honest. It happens, like I said, in my own case, it happens very rarely. Like I will have a very similar story or, or stories that really touched me in ways that can be very emotional too for me. It doesn't happen like too frequently like that. But at times I'm just very honest. Like, ideally we don't talk about ourselves. When I'm with a patient, I focus on the patient. But there have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
very rare instances where like if you don't mind me self-disclosing, is that okay?
Mhm.
And I feel the temperature. And if the person said, yeah, it's okay. And say, I also lost both parents very early in my life. And that was a very difficult time and a difficult situation for me.
Yeah.
This is definitely different from yours. It might look similar, but every situation is unique. And not in any way saying, minimizing your pain, but just letting you know that, yeah, very occasionally I do say that I can count on my fingertips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe, where I've had to say things like that. So at times, it helps the relationship, the therapeutic relationship for
Yes.
the patient at times to also know that you are human and you've also been through things before. But 95 plus of the time, I don't talk about myself. I still focus on the patient. I
Yeah.
might show a lot of empathy to the patient, which is coming from a genuine place where the patient can feel. But I don't necessarily tell them, oh, this is because I went through this too, or because of that. So dealing with it is just be honest with yourself and, show emotions too. It's okay either to cry or to feel sad or to let patient know, wow, you know, I really feel I really feel very sad to hearing that you had to go through this
Yeah.
and stuff. So you just got to be honest to like let them know that your emotions too are there and that I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. This is rough. This is tough to be through. No,
Yeah.
no human needs to go through this. So you need to let them know. And I think that way people feel they feel hard and they feel like you are listening to them. It's not like they say all of that and you're like, okay, we'll give you this pill, go take it. Hopefully you feel better. But at times you are forced to do that too because you don't have all the time to like be emotional, especially we have other patients waiting to see you. Time is already up and all of that. But as much as possible, we try our best to show empathy and, stay with your patients where they are.
Okay. So inspiring people is one of your core missions, core purpose, right? So when being in psychiatry, have you noticed a correlation and what does it take for somebody who's stuck and can't get to success? Psychologically, what do you see some of the barriers that they're having that stop them from achieving the success they want?
Yeah, so people get stuck at times, and it's tough to get stuck. And when people get stuck at times, a lot of things get people stuck. The biggest thing that can get someone stuck is your mindset. If you believe, for example, one attitude to have towards your problem is this too shall pass. But if you believe this problem has come to end my life and you genuinely believe it, it might really, really be hard to get help until you change that mindset. So people get stuck because of the mindset that they have. And that's where for us, we always, almost always, 90% of the time, all our patients, we send them to therapy because your way of thinking, for example, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy is thoughts, beliefs, and actions, CBA.
Yes.
And, you want people to also know that there's a connection between the way you think, there's a connection between the way you believe and the actions that you take. Everything is connected and is connected with the disorder that you have. Although I have medications to help you, but at the same time, if you don't change your unhelpful pattern of thinking, it might just be so hard for the meds to also help. And there's a lot of science that shows, for example, that depression, it's best treated when you combine medication on one right hand and on the left hand, you combine it with therapy, talk therapy, because they both synergistically have the best effects rather than medication alone or therapy alone. So we let patients also know this, that so the biggest way people get stuck is in their mindset. And at times you just got to break it. Well, I always use this analogy with most of my patients. I always tell them that, you know, negative thoughts, put it on your hand and distance yourself from it. I call it unhooking, which I learned from acceptance and commitment therapy. Like you remove, yourself from the hook that is holding you to your thoughts. Most times we are fused. We call it diffusion. There's another name
Yeah.
for it, unhooking, diffusion. Most of us get hooked to what we are thinking and we think it's the truth. For example, your mind might just tell you, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. And you hook, you are fused to it and it's so hard to break it. So the biggest thing I would say if you are stuck is you need to find a way to remove yourself from that hook of negative thoughts or the hook that I'm a failure, I can't make it. And when that is done, it's easy for all the other things to fall into place and then you can find a way forward.
Awesome. So, Dr. Oluwole, I appreciate you coming on here, but before I let you go, I have one more question for you. But one last time, just wanna give a quick shout out. Thank you all, our viewers. Thank you for tuning in every Sunday. Last week we was out in the VI, the Virgin Islands on the mountains hiking up, but we're back again. We're back at it with everything. So I thank everybody that tune in, like, subscribe, and share this comment. If anything that Dr. Wool says that resonate with you, go ahead and let's talk about it in the comments. All right. So the last question I have for you, Dr. Wool, is what is something that you thought I would ask, but I didn't? I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, a Creative Dream Collective. If you need any logos, designs, go ahead and reach out to them. And Dr. Wool, how can people connect with you?
The biggest connection for me is get a book, get a copy of this on Amazon, adapt and advance a faith-based guide from to turn trials to triumph. In it, I have my email address where you can reach out to me. I also have a YouTube channel. It is my first name, last name, 1870 Oluwole Babatunde 1870. On YouTube, you can release one video every month. It used to be more than that before, but I just slowed down a little bit. It's one a month. The one for February should be out today or tomorrow.
Okay.
One video every month. And you can follow me to get notifications. Also on Facebook, my first name, last name, Oluwole Babatunde. You can reach me by email. First name dot last name at outlook.com, Oluwole.babatunde at outlook.com. This is different email from the one I put in the book. So in between
Okay.
all of these three avenues, you can always reach me. We leave comments typically, though I don't respond very quickly to comments on YouTube, but I try very hard, maybe every 2 weeks, make sure I respond to every single comment I get on YouTube. So if you do have, you can join me and hopefully we can keep it going. I would just say, I believe in you. I believe in your greatness. I believe everybody's made with a unique and specific purpose. My desire is to see everybody take their place in destiny and be the best version that they can be. And you can do it.
Awesome. Dr. Wool, thank you. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another awesome episode of Be Inspired Podcast, where we're inspiring you to live the abundant life you deserve. So until next time, till next week, we'll see you again. Thank you, Dr. Wu.
Thank you so much. Bye.